standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean, still my dry heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. Wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun my sail and moon my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leading over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companion, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the lights of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat home. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on, breathe the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat.
Love will guide us, peace has dried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide
is more hope somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more hope somewhere. There is more peace somewhere. There is more peace somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more peace somewhere. There is more joy somewhere. There is more joy somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more joy somewhere.
So please join in our processional hymn, Gather the Spirit, led by Julia Willison and accompanied by Melanie Willison. You'll find the lyrics in the order of service.
Gather the Spirit, harvest the power.
Welcome one and all to the ordination and installation service of John Eric Severson. Wahoo! As we begin, let us first acknowledge that this ceremony and the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Midland, Michigan originates from the ancestral lands of the Anishinaabe peoples, the Ottawa, the Potawatomi, and Ojibwe or Chippewa. In all we do, let us be mindful of our relationships with our Indigenous neighbors and of our shared responsibilities to this place. We gather today, delayed 6 months by a pandemic, but grateful for a technical solution that allows us to gather in a new way to honor and affirm Eric's call and commitment to ministry. We will throw a live in-person party, perhaps in the spring, when it is safe to do so. Eric's view of ministry has evolved over his 25-year path to this day. For him, ministry is love in action. So you may notice that theme today. You may also notice, and already have noticed, glitches, oopsies, or other Zoom surprises. That's all part of our virtual life together. Again, welcome everyone. Our chalice lighting words today by Christian Schmidt are provided by some of Eric's family members: offspring Joe Severson, sister Jennifer Snyder, and aunt Diana Hansen.
It takes a spark, it takes fuel, it takes air, and it takes a container to hold them all. It is only with all of these things that we make fire.
It takes a call. It takes learning and experience. It takes love. And it takes community to hold them all. It's only with all of these things that we make a minister.
Today we light a flaming chalice, and today we ordain John Eric Severson to the Unitarian Universalist ministry.
We share greetings today from organizations to which Eric has belonged. These include the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of La Crosse, the UUA's Mid-America region, the UU Ministers Association's Heartland District, and local faith leaders.
I'm confident that I speak for all here at UU Fellowship of La Crosse when I say how truly delighted we are at this momentous time, his ordination, to be able to share a bit about the impact Eric has had on so many of us in La Crosse and on our fellowship as a whole. With great joy, we welcome this opportunity to comment on how deeply we have felt his loving presence and how many ways he touched the lives and hearts of so many. I suspect Eric may not appreciate how much of a role model he has been for so many in our fellowship. The gentle, kindly, and unassuming way he went about just about anything set the tone for others. A leadership style oxymoronically defined as gentle strength, unassuming boldness, and quiet tenacity. Though frequently in a position of visible leadership, such as the years he served as president of our fellowship, he seamlessly transitioned to behind-the-scenes work, such as when working as administrative coordinator, not to mention untold number of other important service tasks, all of which contributed to the mission of our group. We all appreciated his multiple talents, be they as community thespian, valued tenor in the choir, or preacher of inspiring, heartfelt sermons. Of course, in all such roles, his beautiful, resonant, soothing voice was a particularly valued asset. Eric's ministerial skills have steadily grown over the years. As a self-described professional late bloomer, well worth the wait, I'd say, he epitomizes the oft-used phrase, "Still waters run deep." We experienced his warm, caring service whenever he fostered collaboration, inspired peace, or simply graced the room with his warm smile. A few years ago, my elderly mother, not a member of our fellowship or even a UU, joined my family and me for a memorial service Eric was leading for a member of the fellowship who also happened to be an acquaintance of hers. Having never met Eric, I found it telling when, after the service, the first thing she said was, "I want him to do my service." Such is the impact Eric had on others. We all felt torn when we learned of Eric and Ellen's move to Midland. Under a patina of joy for what it all meant for them lay a deep sense of loss for the void left in their wake. Both, though, have left incredible gifts. There is little in all the pieces that make up UU Fellowship of La Crosse that does not bear their fingerprints. For this we are grateful, and for this we know that others too will feel the grace of these kind souls. We are confident that Eric's future years of service will similarly touch the lives of all with whom his path may cross. For Eric has been and will forever be a blessing, a gift, a servant, and to all who need it most, a dear friend.
Hello, I'm Lisa Presley, one of the Congregational Life Consultants for the Mid-America region of the UUA. I'm delighted to be with you today, both virtually through this recording, but also in my heart, as you are celebrating and ordaining and installing the soon-to-be Reverend Eric. You are claiming him as your own through the installation after you ordain him. You have been on a long journey to this day, the congregation on one path, Eric on another. Each of you have been tested, have tried on different walks of life or ministerial possibilities. But at last, you've found each other. You've shared dreams and possibilities with each other. You've dreamed of a shared future, and that has brought you to this point, albeit 6 months later than you had hoped. But even that delay has helped you learn how to be with each other in deeper, more meaningful ways. No matter what is thrown at you, viruses or floods, you've found a way to deepen that partnership and move together into the future. This has been wonderful to witness. And that said, there is no rite more precious in our tradition than the right of a minister and a congregation to find each other and to create that shared future. That is what we are celebrating today. I am here with you, but it's not just me, because I am here as the embodiment of the Mid-America regional staff and board, the almost 200 congregations in our region, and the more than 1,000 congregations in the Unitarian Universalist Association. We are all joining with you today to celebrate this union of minister and congregation, this way of coming together, and to also recognize and honor you, Eric, for your journey in ministry. May your years with each other be full of delight, where even the conflicts you face bring you closer together, and that the power of your shared ministry is seen throughout this part of our state. May you be a beacon together of love, justice, and possibility to all in Midland and the surrounding community. Know, please, that you are not alone. Know that you are precious, needed, necessary, and wonderful. Today and in all the days to come, blessings on your ministry together, and deep, heartfelt congratulations.
Eric, Unitarian Universalists of Midland, and others who have gathered on this joyous day, I bring you greetings on behalf of the Unitarian Universalist Ministers Association. I am the Reverend Rachel Lonberg, I serve the Unitarian Universalist congregation in Kalamazoo, People's Church, and I am also the president of our Heartland chapter of the UUMA. On this day when we get to celebrate Eric's ministry, I want to remind us that you have colleagues celebrating with you across Michigan, across our continent, around our world. We are so excited for you and so excited to count you among us. Our relationships predate this moment. You have been connected with the UUMA for years, and we expect that connection to continue as you cross this threshold, as you become ordained. So please continue to reach out to us when there are things to celebrate, when there are things to commiserate about, when there are things to strategize about, and when there's no particular purpose beyond just feeling a little less alone in work that can be so isolating. Eric, congratulations. I am so excited for the ministry that you are doing, and I am so excited to count you among the clergy that are my colleagues. Your ministry is a blessing to all of us. Congratulations.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ambreen Jamil. I am co-director of Midland Area Interfaith Friends. I was blessed to meet Eric soon after he moved to Midland. Eric has been an instrumental member of our interfaith family. I am so grateful for his willingness to always participate in our activities and vigils. Eric embodies the true spirit of kindness, sincerity, and love, all attributes that our world is so deeply in need of. Congratulations, Eric, on your ordination. May you continue to be a source of hope and light for all those that are troubled and in despair. And may you always shine bright, making the world a better place. Thank you.
Our reading for today is A Parable for Pulpit Committees by Universalist Minister Clinton Lee Scott, read for us by Jennifer Hundley Batts Thomas.
Today's reading is drawn from our own liberal religious tradition. Its author, Clinton Lee Scott, served a succession of Universalist churches from 1914 until 1971, when he retired from the active ministry at the impressive age of 84. Between parish settlements, Scott also served as state superintendent for the Massachusetts and Connecticut Universalist conventions. Scott authored several books, including a short history of the Universalist Church in America. Today he is perhaps best remembered for his Parish Parables, a whimsical but revealing collection of scenes from church life as he had experienced it. Deliberately mimicking the formal style of the King James Bible, these parables first appeared in print in 1946. Now it came to pass that while the elder in Israel tarried at Babylon, a message came to him from a distant city, saying, "Come now, and counsel with us, and help us to search out a priest, for he that did serve us hath gone mad." And the elder in Israel arose and journeyed to the distant city. And when the men of affairs were assembled, the elder spake unto them, saying, "What manner of man seek ye to be your next priest?" And they answered him and said unto him, "We seek a young man, yet with the wisdom of gray hairs, one that speaketh his mind freely, yet giveth offense to no one, that draweth the multitude to the temple on the Sabbath, but will not be displeased when we ourselves are absent. We desire one that hath a gay mood, yet is of sober mind, that seeketh out dark sayings and prophecies, yet speaketh not over our heads, that filleth the temple and buildeth it up, yet defileth not the sanctuary with a motley assortment of strangers. We seek one that putteth first the instruction to the young, yet requireth not that we become teachers, that causeth the treasury to prosper, yet asketh not that we give more of our substance. Verily, we seek a prophet that will be unto us a leader, but will not seek to change us, for we like not to be disturbed. And the elder in Israel answered and said unto them, When I have found such a priest, I will indeed send him to you. Yet will ye have long to wait, for the mother of such a one hath not yet been born.
Today's sermon is provided by the Reverend Dr. Michael A. Schuler, Minister Emeritus of First Unitarian Society in Madison, Wisconsin. Michael was Eric's supervisor during his parish internship there in 2016 and 2017.
Clinton Lee Scott's tongue-in-cheek parable that you heard read just a moment ago points to a more serious underlying truth that some of you may indeed recognize. The fact is, Unitarian Universalists have long been of two minds about the ministerial office. Now, the gifts that ministers bring to our churches, the services that they render, are eagerly sought after and gratefully accepted. But there's also this queasiness about the influence that clergy exert, and the prominence that we enjoy in congregational life is sometimes a cause for complaint. We may be a relatively small denomination, former UUA President John Behrens once said, but look at it this way. We're the largest, longest-lasting, most widely dispersed therapy program for people with authority issues that American culture has ever seen. Often as not, the focal point for this pervasive resistance to authority is the minister. It should be noted that while this matter may be more vexing for Unitarian Universalists than for some others, anti-authoritarianism has long been a notable feature of the American character and a recurring theme in the American story. In the wake of the Revolutionary War, historian Stephen Prothero observes, and inspired by the Republican rhetoric against deference and authority, Americans were emboldened to loose the shackles binding them not only to the British crown, but also to elitist churches and creeds and ministers. But the first signs of disquiet appeared much earlier. The Pilgrims and the Puritans had barely gained a foothold in New England when their leadership convened to draft the famous Cambridge Platform, a landmark document that was designed to safeguard their newfound religious liberty. And the platform outlines a covenantal system of church governance that curtails the authority of the clergy and ensures congregational sovereignty. And thus the platform reads, "A church being free cannot become subject to any but free election. And even as the church's members have the power to choose their officers, they also have the power to depose them." We Unitarian Universalists are, in this respect, the direct heirs of our Puritan forebears, because in our tradition as well, it is the dutiful laity who select the pastoral leadership and who craft the policies that regulate parish life. This is not to say that those early innovators lacked regard for the ministry. Far from it. For having established this principle of congregational rule, the platform then entrusts clergy with considerable authority in matters both social and spiritual. It reads, "Members may not oppose or contradict their judgment or sentence without sufficient and weighty cause, because such practices are manifestly contrary to good order and government, they cause disturbance, and they tend to confusion." It seems then that the seeds of this profound ambivalence toward ministerial authority were sown very early on. And over the decades, the fortunes of clergy have accordingly waxed and waned. At times, its members have enjoyed more respect and influence. and at other times considerably less. But perhaps at no time have its representatives felt more superfluous and less consequential than at present. Well, there was a time not long ago when ministers' opinions really mattered, when we labored in the vineyard confident of our calling. I once attended an ordination ceremony in which a colleague's charge to the minister included this admonition: never forget, to your congregation, you wear the face of God. Well, it was her way of saying that we must pursue this vocation with the utmost integrity because ours is indeed a high and holy calling. Today, however, a healthy percentage of Americans would beg to disagree. According to surveys, many now express dissatisfaction with the state of the ministerial profession. After a quarter-century career as a church consultant, Lauren Mead lamented, "I have watched the ministry go from high respect and low stress to high stress and low respect." And statistics bear this out. In a study of 1,000 pastors conducted by the Fuller Institute, 70% reported a lower level of self-esteem than when they first had answered their call. Eugene Peterson is a highly regarded Presbyterian minister, and he summed up the situation in his memoirs. He said, "Men and women who are pastors in America today have entered a way of life that is in ruins. Any kind of continuity with pastors in times past is virtually non-existent." Now, if I believed that the disintegration of this old and wondrous calling was a foregone conclusion, I would never have accepted Eric's invitation to deliver this sermon. It is indeed true that in years to come, ministers will have to confront an increasingly dubious and indifferent public. But the future could look a great deal brighter if organized religion learned to do a few things differently. You know what? An honest reappraisal of ministerial authority would be an excellent place to start. Authority. It has been loosely defined as power freely conferred in consideration of services rendered. Authority normally has two components, which we call the positional and the personal. One may be said to possess positional authority simply by virtue of the office that they occupy. And so we speak of presidential powers that can be exercised the moment a chief executive is sworn into office, regardless of their character. And likewise, a Roman Catholic priest is authorized to celebrate the sacraments by virtue of his ordained status. As in any office, whether sacred or secular, it is perceived as legitimate if it is positional, and for certain purposes, specified purposes, those individuals can speak and act with authority. Nevertheless, it is often the case that what we say and do as ministers under normal circumstances is not going to be taken that seriously, positional or not. I received my first lesson about the limits of positional authority as a newly minted divinity school graduate way back in 1976. Having been called to a pastoral-sized congregation, I imagined that its 75 members would welcome their young minister's direction without any quibbles, without any qualms. But like many small churches, this one had endured a succession of short-term ministries, some more successful than others, and accordingly, its stolid lay leaders had learned to be their own source of confidence. They definitely wanted ministerial support, but they were also quite clear about who was going to call the shots, and it was not going to be me. Beyond question, the ministerial office carries less clout than it once did. And so fortunately, a second and more viable source of authority is available to us. Indeed, whatever respect and whatever credibility a minister enjoys today will, for the most part, reflect the community's estimation of him or her as a person. But unlike positional authority, which is automatically conferred, personal authority has to be earned. So how is that trick accomplished? Among the many factors that could be mentioned are four that deserve specific mention: love, trust, authenticity, and partnership. Love is the spirit of this church. James Vila Blake's well-known covenant reads, and it is a principle that no minister can afford to neglect. Clergy can challenge, they can contend with, occasionally they can even chastise their congregation, but as former AUA President Frederick May Elliott said, there is no substitute for love of the brethren. Now, love is a notoriously ambiguous term, and each generation understands it somewhat differently. For Frederick May Elliott, it probably stood for something like mutual acceptance, the emotionally neutral state of harmonious coexistence. And that is certainly how Unitarian Universalism struck me as a child of the 1960s. Back then, UU ministers, as Bill Schultz, another former UUA president, observes, ministers were authoritative wisdom figures. They were mediators of truth, rational instructors of the congregation who seldom let their emotions show. In that era, ours was without question a faith more of the head than of the heart, and love was less a warm and fuzzy feeling than an ethical proposition. But then an amazing thing happened on the way to the 21st century. Women moved out of the pew and into the pulpit. Lutheran minister and consultant Anne Svenningsson describes this as the most significant transformation in pastoral leadership since the Reformation. And it has certainly altered our understanding of what love is all about, and it has shifted our expectations of clergy, male and female, significantly. Now, Unitarian Universalists still prize a thoughtful and articulate ministry, but they are also less accepting of clergy who are distant, who are emotionally detached. Congregations today want a person who will lead with compassion and not just with cool logic. In this harsh and disconnected world, the minister who exhibits genuine warmth will win more plaudits than one who relies primarily on his or her eloquence. Now, love is a critical factor in any committed relationship, and so is trust. Unfortunately, well-publicized clergy misconduct cases in the last decade have left ministers and the ministry with something of a trust deficit. Americans are more wary of clergy than they once were, and yet no ministers can succeed amid festering doubts about their intentions and their judgment. So how does a religious leader gain a congregation's trust? Well, by loving them in the manner just described, and by also showing a willingness to listen and to learn. According to Bill Schultz, one common mistake that ministers make is to equate leadership with airtime. We like to talk. Why otherwise would we have chosen this profession? And we suppose that a congregation's confidence in us will increase as we speak often and as we speak well. But this is to overlook the importance of the ear, because what a congregation really wants, I have found, especially in the initial stages of a relationship, is just to tell its story. For them, it is vital that the minister develop a lively sympathy for the context in which he or she has been called to serve. The bottom line is that all ministry is local, and that a congregation comes to trust its spiritual leader when it's clear that he or she is in touch with the genius of the place, of its particular people, its particular setting, as Wendell Berry put it. We live in an age of haste. But in a matter of such importance, a minister cannot be in a hurry. The growing season for a stable, trusting relationship is often quite long. So don't try to use any authority until they give it to you, John Buren's cautions. For in the end, that authority is conferred by trust, and that trust must be earned. Trust and authority also increase when the community judges us to be authentic. Professional competency is important, but hardly sufficient, because today's religious seekers are looking for wholeness, integrity, spiritual maturity in their leaders. Clergy are unlike other professionals, Dan Hotchkiss observes, because of the intensity with which people hold them responsible not only for the success of the institution, but also for their own religious quests. So whether we are aware of it or not, whether we like it or not, people are watching us. They're scrutinizing us. They're taking our measure, and they seek reassurance that we practice what we preach. The demand here is not for perfection. It's not for living a life of exceptional holiness. Authentic people make mistakes. They misjudge people and situations. They get rattled and upset. As Diana Butler Bass puts it, parishioners don't want super saints as leaders. They want mature men and women who exhibit the balance that they hope to achieve in their own lives. Above all else, authentic leaders are self-aware. They're honest about their strengths and their weaknesses, and they are resilient enough to rise above the petty hassles of daily living. And so the fourth and final element that bolsters a minister's personal authority is partnership. In keeping with the example of the apostles, the Cambridge Platform says, the congregation and its leadership must sweetly agree together with due regard for the authority that belongs to each. What this means is that ministers must be secure enough in themselves to gracefully share the church's ministry, to equip others for ministry, to give ample credit to all who are actively engaged in that congregation's ministry. In today's egalitarian culture, clergy who compete for power with the laity or who function poorly as a part of a team will wear out their welcome in relatively short order. It is, of course, entirely appropriate for a minister to keep his or her finger on the pulse, to uphold standards of excellence, to ensure that congregational activities are aligned with its mission. But sustainable leadership also requires clergy to avoid over-functioning, actively look for ways to release the power of the laity, and take pride in the team's accomplishments. As Lao Tzu observes in the Tao Te Ching, when the master's work is done, the people say, "Amazing, we did it ourselves." If liberal religion's promise is to be fulfilled, we simply must come to terms with these authority issues that have divided and disabled us in the past. They have caused far too much disillusionment, drained too much of our energy. And so our task now is to forge ahead with hope and courage, working together to create a spiritual climate that will support and inspire people in these most turbulent and polarizing of times.
Our collection today will be split between the Midland Fellowship's Endowment Fund and Hidden Harvest, a local nonprofit that collects surplus food from restaurants and other sources and delivers it to soup kitchens, food pantries, and other agencies in the Saginaw Bay region. If you would like to give, please click on the link in the order of service or in the chat, or send a check with ordination in the memo line to the UU Fellowship of Midland, 6220 Jefferson Avenue, Midland, Michigan, 48640. Thank you so much for your generosity. Thank you also to the Unitarian Universalist Ministers Association for its donation to the Living Tradition Fund in honor of this ordination. Here to lead our act of ordination is Fellowship President Shannon Sonoris.
Thank you, Beth. Welcome, everyone. Hi, Eric. You ready? In the living tradition of Unitarian Universalism, the authority to confer ordination lies wholly with each congregation. It is a meaningful and joyous occasion when a fellowship such as ours recognizes one who has answered the call to ministry. Eric, are you prepared to embark formally, fully, and finally upon the path of ministry?
I am so ready.
Woohoo! Members of this fellowship, I invite you to affirm the following statement. We, the members of the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Midland, hereby ordain you, the Reverend John Eric Severson, to the Unitarian Universalist ministry. Live into this call. May you minister from your whole self, heart, body, mind, and spirit. May you always speak the truth as you know it with courage and wisdom. Demonstrate grace and gentleness. Celebrate the mystery and wonder of life. Side with love and justice. Share in the joys and sorrows of our human condition. Embody and give testimony to the living tradition of our faith. And above all, serve the world with compassion and love. Remember, you are never alone. All the people who have formed you journey with you in this work. May you do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly in your faith. Wait a second. Members of this fellowship, please unmute yourselves when prompted. Ready? If you affirm these words, please say or type into the chat, we do.
We do.
We do.
We do.
Yes, we do.
Boy, do we. I accept this ministry with joy, appreciation, and gratitude. I will hold your words of ordination in my heart and mind. I will be open to the wonder, mystery, pain, sorrow, and joy of this world. I give myself freely to the work of love and will do my part in healing a broken world, speaking truth in love and ministering with a gentle hand.
Eric's family, friends, and colleagues, mindful of the support advices you've made, I ask that you add your love and encouragement to this ordination by affirming these words. Eric, we have watched you and encouraged you as you worked and prepared for this day for more than 2 decades. With joy and pride, we affirm this ordination. You have our continuing love and support. May your ministry nourish you and be a source of healing in the world. Now, please unmute yourself as you are prompted. Family, friends, and colleagues, I'll give you a moment. If you affirm these words, please say or type into the chat, we do.
We do.
All right. And let the people say amen.
Amen.
Reverend Eric, Today, we present you with the stole. You want to be there? You're going to be over there. Where are you going to be? Which one? Where are we going? Where's that camera guy? Here, we're doing it here? We're going to do it here? I can't hear you. Oh, here he comes. Oh, very snazzy. Okay. Today we present you with the stole that Ellen now has in her hands. It's a great work of art designed and created by our very own Michael Malecki. She has this to say about her work. The fellowship is honored to present this stole to you today, representing your calling as a minister and as our minister. We know your ordination comes after a lifetime of living your values as a Unitarian Universalist, as you participated as both a lay and ministerial leader. Now we are here together to celebrate with you, and we are happy to be part of your ordination and to present this stole. We hope you will wear it with pride in your accomplishment, and that it will be a reminder of this special day for you and all of us at UUFOM. You chose purple and green as your colors. Green represents new beginnings, abundance, and nature. Purple represents creativity, and this certainly has been a year where you've shown amazing creativity. We look forward to many creative and abundant years together. Congratulations, Eric. This beautiful stole is a representation of the yoke of ministry. Though it is made only of fabric and thread, we know that its weight is great. Know that we who gather here today believe that you are fully capable of carrying this weight with humility and grace, and that you will be careful not to let its weight overburden you or your ministry, your personhood or relationships. May this stole remind you of the love, honor, and respect we all share this day, and may it grow in meaning in the years ahead. Ellen, will you please place the stole? Woo!
We can't see it, Eric.
Beautiful, beautiful. Oh, dragonflies. Beautiful.
Okay then, thank you, Michael. That's gorgeous. Providing a collegial welcome is Reverend Neil Anderson, Senior Minister of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Greater Lansing.
Hello, Eric. What a blessing it is to gather with you, the congregation that you serve, and all your friends and family who have gathered on this occasion of your ordination into the Unitarian Universalist ministry. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Reverend Neil Anderson, and I serve as the senior minister of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Greater Lansing. And it was through this blessing of geography that Eric and I were able to meet one another as he began serving the congregation in Midland, Michigan. I was gathering with Unitarian Universalists here in the greater Lansing area. As Unitarian Universalist ministers, we are committed to being in relationship with one another, to supporting one another, and holding each other to the promises that we make in this tradition that is rooted in covenant, rooted in those promises that we make to each other. So what a blessing it was to meet you, Eric, and to know that you prioritize in your ministry the relationships that you have to colleagues. It's my honor and responsibility as we gather today to offer a blessing of fellowship. Sometimes this ritual has been referred to as offering the right hand of fellowship. It was 12 years ago this fall that Reverend Katie Kandarian offered me the right hand of fellowship as I was ordained into the Unitarian Universalist ministry. And how wonderful it is that now I have that opportunity to bless you in your ministry as you embark on this lifetime of service to the mission and values of our faith, of Unitarian Universalism. In our time of knowing each other, I know, Eric, that your ministry will be a blessing to all who come in contact with it, to all that you serve. I wanted to remind you on this day of the words that we share with each other in covenant as Unitarian Universalist ministers. We end our covenant by saying that we hold one another in love, as through fidelity to this covenant, we aspire to grow in wholeness and bring hope and healing to the world. So, Eric, welcome to this great cloud of witnesses which are your colleagues, your beloved colleagues of the past, of the present, and those colleagues yet to come. And so with that, I offer you this blessing. And may your life and your ministry be a blessing to all. May it be so.
And now, reflecting Eric's affirmation that ministry is love in action, are Ryan Thomas and Eric and Ellen Severson sharing Kate Wolf's song, Give Yourself to Love.
Should we back up again?
Hey, you got the doogie. How did that happen?
What? Oh, is this the doogie?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, we're being recorded, right?
Yeah, we are. Good friends all gathered round. There's something I would say. What brings us together here is bless us all today. Love has made a circle that holds us all inside. strangers are as family, loneliness can't hide. You must give yourself to love. Love is what you're after. Open up your hearts to tears and laughter. Give yourself to love. Give yourself to love. I've walked these mountains in the rain. I've learned to love the wind. Been up before the sunrise, watch the day begin. Always knew I'd find you, I never did know how. Like sunshine on a cloudy day, you stand before me now. So give yourself to love. Love is what you're after. Open up your heart to tears and laughter. Give yourself to love. Give yourself to love. Love was born in fire, planted like a seed. Love can't give you everything, but it gives you what you need. Love comes when you're ready, it comes when you're afraid. It'll be your best teacher, the best friend you have ever made. So give yourself to love. Love is what you're after. Open up your hearts to tears and laughter. Give yourself to love. Give yourself to love. Give yourself to love.
And now, leading us in an act of installation is again Shannon Sonoris.
I was so excited about the last part, I forgot about this part. But let's go. Let's keep going. Eric, though you've served us for more than a year, today we are filled with celebration as we formally install you as our minister. We've worshiped with you, been moved by your sermons, received pastoral care at your hands, and responded to your playfulness and your invitation to a shared ministry. We recognize the credentials you've earned, but appreciate you more for the life of wisdom, dedication, and mutual respect that you offer. Are you prepared to be installed as our minister? I can't hear you.
I am.
There we go. That's what I was looking for. All right. The act of installation consecrates the bond between the members of the congregation and minister they have called. With today's act, we covenant to support each other through the work ahead. Eric, mindful of the great traditions of our heritage and of this fellowship, and aware of its vast promise, we look to you for moral leadership, religious insight, and spiritual guidance. Speak truth in love, strive for justice, guide us in our seeking. Share stories of our religious heritage and visions of our faith. Minister to us in our joys and in our sorrows. Further a deepening of relationship. Encourage the pursuit of meaning and embody the spirit of service to all. Eric, will you dwell among us, embracing our fellowship across generations? Will you preach wisdom as you perceive it, inviting us into deeper spiritual and personal growth? Will you welcome children fully into the life of this church? Will you challenge us to value those whom we see as different and help us to live in right relationship with each other and in all aspects of our lives? Will you support our hopes and dreams, foster our diversity of thought, and encourage our spiritual journeys? Will you care for yourself, seeking joy and renewal as you need it? Will you journey with us as our settled minister?
I will.
Yay. I now ask members of this fellowship to join in installing the Reverend John Eric Severson as our settled minister by affirming this covenant. Eric, we call you to be our minister. We pledge to walk with you, work with you, laugh and cry with you. We will sing and pray with you. We will listen, teach, and learn. We offer you a free pulpit, the cooperation of our hearts and hands, and our resolute support in every sense of the word. With humility, wisdom, and compassion as guides, we will grow together. Help us to realize what we are and who we can become. May you change the world by changing our lives. With joy, we do hereby install you, Reverend John Eric Severson, as minister of the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Midland. So now we're going to do the unmuting thing again. Members of this fellowship, if you affirm this covenant, please say or type into the chat, "We do."
We
do.
We do.
Oh, there's
Reverend Eric.
With joy, a heart full of love, and a deep sense of responsibility, I embrace the ministry to which you have called me. It is my prayer, hope, and intention that our time and our work together will be joyous and meaningful. I offer my hands, heart, and mind in partnership to this congregation in serving its vision, mission, and covenant.
And let the people again say, Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Woo!
Hooray! Providing a charge to the congregation is Eric's mentor, the Reverend Krista Taves, Minister of Congregational Life with Elliott Unitarian Chapel in Kirkwood, Missouri.
Hello, my name is Reverend Krista Taves. I'm the Minister of Congregational Life at Elliott Unitarian Chapel and the former minister of the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of La Crosse, Wisconsin, which is where I met Reverend Severson and began serving as his mentor. I was also one of his references, and I have to tell you that when your search team called, I got such a good feeling, and I was elated when you chose Eric. I have been tasked by Eric with offering your charge. We all want this to be a successful ministry, so this is my charge to you. First, let us address the times we are in. We are in a deadly pandemic. The foundation of our democracy has become unstable. The stain of racism still exacts its deadly toll, and we are witnessing unprecedented climate change. We are experiencing such high levels of weariness, anxiety, sadness, and anger. We need, beloved community, more than ever. So my charge to you is to be gentle with each other as we clumsily find our way through these very uncertain times by relying on our covenants to direct us back into right relationship. We are a faith of covenant, of those sacred promises that we make to each other. And one of those covenants is the covenant between a minister and a congregation. I charge you to remember and trust that Eric always has this covenant foremost in his mind. Secondly, I charge you to be prepared for your minister to make mistakes as he serves you. The issue is not that a mistake has been made. It is what you do next. Your charge is to stay in right relationship with Reverend Eric, to share honestly and lovingly with him the feedback he deserves to hear from you so that he can become a better minister. The second thing to remember is that you as a congregation will also make mistakes. The issue is not, again, that a mistake has been made. It is what you do next. Your charge is to stay in right relationship with Reverend Eric and each other when he holds up a mirror and shares honestly and lovingly with you the feedback that you deserve to hear so that you can live your mission more faithfully. I charge you with respecting that Eric is not only a minister, he is also a husband, a father, a friend, and a neighbor. His ability to serve you depends on having a life outside of your fellowship. And while this may be a challenge in a small city like Midland, offer him and Ellen that space with generosity and love. I charge you to continuously ask, what is your work and what is his work? Ultimately, the mission of the congregation is your responsibility, and he is here to help you live your mission to the best of your ability. He cannot live it, but he can offer a path for you as you live it together. Receive his spiritual leadership, and you will be leaders in this community and a beacon of love and justice. I charge you to be open to the truth that Eric will change as a minister while serving you. Someday, when this ministry comes to an end, he will be a different kind of minister than when he came because of his experience with you. This is a blessing. Be prepared to receive that evolving blessing. And finally, I charge you to remember that together we serve a higher mission that goes beyond the confines of any one congregation. We manifest Unitarian Universalism together. We need each other, we strengthen each other, and we are not alone. Never hesitate to ask for help, to reach beyond yourselves, because honestly, this is what your minister does almost every day to serve you. We hold each other, and when you can trust that this holding is there for you, then this shared ministry between you and Reverend Severson will be long, strong, and fruitful.
And now, providing a charge to the minister is Meadville Lombard classmate and colleague of Eric's, the Reverend Dr. Cynthia Landrum, minister of the First Parish Church of Stowe and Acton in Massachusetts.
Greetings. I'm the Reverend Cindy Landrum, and I serve as the minister of the First Parish Church of Stowe and Acton in Stowe, Massachusetts, although some of you may remember me from my many years in Jackson, Michigan. I met Eric in seminary, where he was a couple of years ahead of me, and I worked a student job where I worked alongside Ellen and got to know them both through that connection, which led to me being the lucky recipient of some meals at the Severson household. So that's by way of introducing me to everyone, but I've been invited to give the charge to the minister today, which means that the rest of these words are from me to Eric, with the rest of you just listening in. Eric, I'm glad to have followed the charge to the congregation today, because I could just say, the same goes for you, Eric. But as that would be the shortest charge to the minister ever, I am, of course, going to elaborate a bit. So Eric, you are no doubt familiar with James Luther Adams's essay, The 5 Smooth Stones of Religious Liberalism. In it, he lays out 5 principles of liberal religion. Well, what I'm going to do today is to charge you with the 5 smooth stones of the liberal ministry. The 5 smooth stones image comes from the David and Goliath story, and the Goliath in this metaphor is the struggle to stay in the ministry for the long haul. So, as someone in their 20th year of ministry, here are the smooth stones you need at the onset. Eric, first I charge you with this first smooth stone. James Luther Adams said that revelation is continuous. I'm going to say to you, listen to your voice, trust in yourself. When I was charged at my ordination, my mentor and friend Drew Kennedy charged me with 2 things, and the first was integrity. As Ralph Waldo Emerson said, trust thyself. Every heart vibrates to that iron string. Nothing at last is sacred but the integrity of your own mind. There are times when you'll need to make a decision because it is the right decision, but it is not popular. Trust yourself. You've got this. Hold to your truth. Let it be your guide. There's a reason you were called to this ministry and a reason this congregation entrusted you with this sacred task. Secondly, James Luther Adams's second stone is that liberal religion must be freely consented to. What I'm going to say to you is that it is important for you to remember that it's not just you who is consenting to your engaging in this work. It is also your life partner. You are a person with a family and with friends. And it's important for you to remember that as much as this work calls you to engage in the world, you have a commitment to those you love as well. So I charge you to take time for loved ones, especially when this work is at its hardest. Third, JLA says that we have a moral obligation to work for justice. And I know that you are a minister who is called to do justice work. But as a justice-loving minister myself, I am saying to you that this work is ongoing and we are called to engage in it, but it will burn you out. So my third smooth stone is for you to balance your call to justice with a spiritual practice. This ministry we're called to must include a connection with justice, with righting the wrongs of the world. But we can't do this work if we are personally depleted. So take time for your spiritual practices, time to be in nature, time to journal and write poetry, and most of all in these times to sing. And do fun things too. Go to the theater, read some fantasy. The work of this ministry will always be there, and there will always be more you can be doing, but you can only do what you can in this ministry if you keep your spirit strong. So, fourth, JLA says that we affirm the necessity of the social creation of good, that we have the agency to create change. What is usually focused on in this fourth smooth stone is the agency piece, but I want to focus on the social piece. So this smooth stone is a call for you to be in community in 2 ways. First, I want you to remember that a leader does not lead without their people. You have all these souls at the Midland congregation with you in this work. Don't forget to bring them along in the work with you. And secondly, and this is a particularly important point to me, don't forget about your colleagues and your larger association. I'm charging you here today with making sure you go to cluster meetings and chapter meetings, that you engage in the work of the larger association, because first of all, we're stronger together. If anything has taught us that this particular time of pandemic has shown us the strength in being united. But I also charge you with this because there will be a time sometime in the future when things are not going as smoothly as you wish. And it is those collegial connections and faith connections that you have built that will sustain you through that time. This I know. When you're in trouble, you need to lean into community, not pull away. So I charge you to be connected and to stay connected. Now, lastly, JLA says that there is a reason to be optimistic and to have hope. Here, I'm going to veer completely away from our dear JLA and say that my fifth smooth stone is not about hope, but about love. Now, hope is important, don't get me wrong, it abides. And if I could have a sixth smooth stone, I'd go on for a bit about hope. But the greatest of these is love. And that's the second thing I was charged with at my ordination, love. And I keep it in the forefront of my ministry always. Love your congregation, love your faith, love this ministry. And when you find that your love is stretched thin or depleted, that means it's time to step away, for good or for just a little while until you can find it again. We have to love this work to survive in it. We have to love this faith to dedicate ourselves to it. And we have to love our people to lead them as a minister. So this is my charge to you, Eric. Integrity, family and friends, spiritual practice and fun, collegiality and connection, and the greatest of these is love. Congratulations on your ordination and on this wonderful ministry, my friend. Blessings to you.
Please join now in our recessional hymn, Wake Now My Senses, led again by Julia Willison and accompanied by Melanie Willison. And you'll find the lyrics in the order of service and on your screen.
Bright
perfectly imperfect as we are. May we be present to one another, to friend and stranger alike, in meeting the challenges, needs, and opportunities ahead. May we be persistent in both our efforts and in our love. May we take with us the joy of this celebration, faithful to the commitments we have made, and grateful for the gifts we have received. Go in peace and enjoy. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Melanie. And thank you to everyone for joining us today. If you would like to write or record your congratulations or a blessing to Eric and Ellen, please go to www.uufom.org/ordination and follow the link to Ordination Guestbook. And if you're in Midland area next spring, please plan to join us for a great in-person celebration. Go if you want to, or you can stay for a little blooper roll.
Is that recording?
It was.
Oh.
Making our way by the lights of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat. Hi. Yes. Thanks for your help. More joy somewhere. No. Love. Love, 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 love. More love somewhere.
Did I go back to the original key?
No.
What is the key? Love, love with you.
Give yourself
to lush. Keep that one.
Stimulating. If you cannot
before angels, if you can. Crap. Whatever.
We're dancing. And why aren't you in the picture?
Hope inside us. Crap.
It was you or
What
me?
was it?
Should we back up again?
Hey, you got the doogie. How did that happen?
Is this the doogie?
Yeah.
Oh.